Right, guys, welcome to the first special guest episode of Push Pull Profit. This time we have our long-term client, Chris Robertson here, who's been a client for over 3 years, we've just discussed. Been with us for a long time. I figured since he's come all the way down from like the fucking arse end of Scotland, how many hours?
3.
3-hour drive to spend some time chatting through his business, basically talking about his roadblocks, figuring out where he is, where he wants to be, and Blair and I between us will help him knock down those roadblocks and make a strategy. But before we're going to get into that, we felt like it made sense to kind of introduce some of our longer standing clients to you guys. And so we'll go into quickly who Chris is, what he was struggling with when he came to us for help. And it's a fucking wild story, so strap in. We've picked a good one to start with. Let's get about to set a high bar. So who he is, where he was when he joined us, where he is now, and then we're just going to spend a little bit of time effectively mapping out the agenda for the rest of the day, and then we will get into it, brothers. So, Chris, thanks for coming down, pal. Appreciate it.
No problem.
So, when you reached out 3 years ago, run us through where you were, what was going on.
So I had a full-time job in the RAF, Royal Air Force, as a firefighter, but I was kind of doing coaching on the side. And then I was like 13 years in that job, and it was kind of dwindling because I was starting to really like coaching, get into that, and also see that actually it could be a career. So then I was kind of umming and ahhing, looking for a mentor to be like, right, where do I actually turn this into a job like? And then reached out for you for help, and it was a case of go from there really. It wasn't like too much of a grand story. I wasn't like happy with my current job. I started coaching through lockdown, really liked that. And then it was, as that one was dwindling, that one was getting exciting.
100%. And I think because I had done something similar with a full-time job into coaching, I kind of knew where your head was at. It's difficult. And actually, one of the first things that we discussed, I remember very clearly, was colleagues shitting on your attempts to, it's the crabs in a bucket thing.
Yeah.
It was like, here's Chris trying to do better for himself. Oh, look at you coaching women on the internet. Remember that? Like the locker room banter you were getting at work.
I think because in the military it's very dark humour, because you kind of need that, because it is shit at times in that kind of work environment. You just got to get on with it. And so I used to just coach women, so the lads at work would be just annihilating me, like, oh, what are we talking about today? The menstrual cycle, mate. How's your fanny? And all that kind of stuff.
How is your fanny? All right.
Yeah, it's all right, but yeah. So like, it doesn't affect me at all, but it's kind of like funny. So actually, to be fair, it kind of like restricted me talking about content, because I was like, I know I'm going to get nailed at work the next day for putting this out. So it was a lot of like visuals, like infographics, rather than actual like face to camera. So it was took a while to kind of get over the hurdle. And then once it was out, it was just, they took the piss for a couple of hours until someone made a mistake, and then they got the piss took out of them.
Well, the joke's on them now though, right? Let's be honest. Yeah. So I mean, at that point, we can go as far down this rabbit hole as you're comfortable going. You weren't earning a huge amount from coaching.
No. Okay, no. No, it was like, I think my sales pitch was like, it's £10 a week, mate, it's £40 a month kind of thing. It's like, so it was that. And then I thought, I'm gonna be a big bollocks here, I'm gonna ask for 3 figures. It's £100 a month. And then people said, yeah, and I was like, this is class. So I was making that on the side as well as my salary. So that was like free spender money. And then, yeah, it just kind of went from there. As I said, I don't know where the next thing is. And then I think that's why I was like, I've not got a clue what I'm doing. Help me.
Well, good. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. You don't know what you don't know. So fast forward 3 years, what's different? Other than the fact that you no longer work in the RAF.
Yeah. So fast forward to now, where it's more like I'm still as passionate from the day. Like that's never changed. Like I've always kind of held that passion, and I absolutely love what I do. It's just that gone through various different levels, and I kind of say to my clients that I do a sport like jiu-jitsu where you've got belts to kind of rank you, and I'm just thinking I've gone through the belts where it's a lot easier. Like I've got systems in place where I know if someone comes in, I've got first of all the confidence that I know I'm going to help them achieve an amazing results, because I've also helped very similar people in that position. I think everyone with that online kind of thing is like, oh, I want freedom. I genuinely have got that. The other day I was on a flight coming back from London, using the Wi-Fi, chatting to clients. I remember I actually messaged you coming back from Dubai. So I flew business class on the way, the first ever time in business class. I was like, this is absolutely steaming on the way there. And then on the way back, I got economy, and I instantly regretted it because I walked past the business class. I was like, that is a fucking stupid
what you
mistake.
could have won.
Yeah. So I was like, nah, fuck this. 7 hours on the flight, get the Wi-Fi and close the client. So I made £1,000 on a flight home. And I was like, this is absolutely mental.
Scene. So good though, right?
Yeah.
So it's been a long journey between leaving the RAF, building up to the point where you are. Well, the first scary point was getting to the point where we had enough financial stability from coaching to leave the RAF. Mm-hmm. At that point though, you've kind of matched your salary one for one. And at that point, I know you well enough at this point to know that that was absolutely not enough. So we had to keep building and keep building and keep building. A lot of that came from, there's various different things I think that came from. Obviously, one of them was significantly improving your pricing from fucking £10 a week or whatever you're talking. But then there's a lot of other things that went into getting to the point that you are now, where I think like the chances of him seeing this are fairly slim, but like earning significantly more than the highest ranking officer in that camp now.
Yeah, I didn't go off that, but I think as I was looking at, I think it was like October, November, December, where I was looking at year to date, and I was like, oh fucking hell. And then I actually thought, what does that equate to in like various ranks within the Royal Air Force? And I was like, what does the boss of the camp earn? I was like, let's go. So I was chasing him down. I was like, got him.
Mate, so fucking good. What do you think have been the biggest things that we've helped you implement along that journey that have had the biggest, most profound impact to get you to this point?
I actually thought about this on the drive home, and I think a timely podcast that came out just as I was like making that switch was the High Performance podcast with Sir Clive Woodward, and he was talking about what he believes a coach is. It's like, your job is to get results through people, and it just, I don't know why, but it's just, that's just been on repeat, that my job is to get the best result through that person and find a way, whether it's meet them where they are, drag them to where they need to be, whatever they need to do to get that. And that's where I've kind of based my coaching to just be centric around results through people.
So world-class results?
As best as I can for that individual, yeah.
So compared to where you were doing what you were doing, obviously you've become a better coach, and we can take some credit for that. But one thing I'll say in your favour, among many, is, you know, the whole time you've been working with us, you've been doing other things and investing in other courses and programs and reading and listening and just consuming to become a better coach. Mm-hmm. What do you think that we've changed in the business in terms of like delivery or client experience that's helped bring that out in the clients, helped made that easier for you? Like, what have we helped you implement? So
I think at the start I was, again, not knowing what I was doing and just kind of copying what friends of mine who were coaches, like the only reason I started with True Coach is my mate runs a CrossFit gym and he was doing True Coach. So I've stuck with True Coach because it's what I know. And then it's just like implementing little bits from other people. But then when I started with you, it was like, this is your client directory, this is like how to house everyone, this is all the information you need about them. So it was like one place, it wasn't scattered. And then it was a case of, this is how to do checking properly, rather than just being like, yeah, this looks really good, like you're hitting all your workouts, and like actually formatting it so they have. I think a big thing that you said about is like a lot of people will have that kind of circle where it's like check-in, feedback, rather than
circle of doom.
Yeah, rather than, and then from that, I think it was London you talked about it, like turn it on its side, so it's a 3D spiral where it's like check-in, feedback, and it's like that jiu-jitsu thing where you're going up and up and up into the next things rather than just going around in circle. They find it monotonous and being like, this is the same shit every week, I'm gonna leave. And then you've got that journey to kind of grow and grow and grow.
100%. So systems, platform, how to deliver check-ins, how to build in the client journey to, I was going to say ensure retention, but I don't know if you ever ensure retention, but it significantly increase the likelihood of retention. But then with a view to getting retention through, if we can go for the upward spiral rather than the circle, better results. Yeah. So, okay, great. We can kind of, in a minute, move forward to like what you want to get out today, and then we can go from there. But for now, in terms of if that's the delivery side, there's kind of the two other bits let's quickly touch on, and then we can move into today is, what do you what do you think's changed from old Chris that was charging £10 a week to six-figure beyond Chris? What changed in marketing and sales?
Sales has got a lot better. So I used to do, because I didn't back myself. I think the initial thing of like, didn't have the results. So then I didn't have the social proof. So then when I was going into speaking to new clients, I was kind of hoping, rather than now it's like, if you don't join my coaching, there's only one side of this coin that's losing out, and it's not me. It's like, if you don't join my coaching, I am no worse off. But I know if you do join my coaching, this will be one of the best investments of your life. And I think going from getting better results to then show that, to then having more confidence in myself that when they come in, there's a framework. We can be fluid within that framework of coaching, like various different phases. But I know that I'm going to have a dramatic result on that person to get them up here.
Yeah, I totally agree. Is that everyone has no social proof at some point.
Yeah.
But you go from hoping to like with or without you energy. So you come into these calls, you know you can fucking prove it. You know, like you know that it does what it says on the tin. And like I've seen your slide deck for your sales calls. Like I've personally looked at it. It's absolutely loaded with social proofs. I mean, even if I come into that sales call not aware, you better fucking believe I'm aware before once we get through the first slide. So, all right, from a sales perspective, there's been a significant increase in social proof because you're getting better results. But also, my takeaway really is that confidence, as I've discussed with you a lot of times, you're like, is higher than ever. So you go into these calls knowing who you are, who you say you are, that you can do what you say you can do. And like, listen, we're fucking over here doing this as a group. You can either join us or not, like end off. When it comes to the marketing side that happens before the sales, what's the difference between the £10 a week and the six-figure Chris there?
I think just people looking in that I have got that confidence because I speak with confidence on social media, like stories. I think the content that I hardly ever put out is there's a lot of social proof, like before and afters, and I also go into detail with the caption, kind of to be transparent about how I am and who I am, because then I think it's that know, like and trust that you talked about at the start for people to be, well, I'm not going to buy from someone I don't know. And I think in my case, I would be the same. Yes, like a before and after transformation, you're in shape as a coach, but I think that only works so far. And I think if you have a more of your life, your beliefs, who you are, I think when the client does come in, they've already kind of vetted you that they, like I swear on my content for the simple, I call it like a ball bag sieve. So
a ball bag sieve?
Yeah, so we've got like
TM.
People who are like offended with people who swear, they fall through the sieve, so they're never going to be my clients. So then that's why I swear, because if you're offended with me swearing on content, when it comes to a check-in and you're not holding yourself to that high standard or that standard that we ask of clients, you're going to be a bit of a wet wipe thinking, oh, well, I'm not getting results this week.
You can't tell them to just like, listen, you need to fucking listen. You can't be straight with them. That's the way you like to cook.
This is A, B, and C, why you're not getting the results. I think people will be more inclined to, if they can cope with someone swearing because they're an adult.
I mean, you know, I agree with this.
Yeah, so like I say, I'm not for everyone, and I think that my thing of like 50% of the world doesn't like us, I'm all right with that. 100%.
Like, I think the coaches that do well in the group, in the industry, make their peace with that. I'm not for everyone. I'd rather be dog shit flavour ice cream than vanilla flavour ice cream. At least everyone knows where they stand, right?
Yeah.
100%. Totally agree with that, man. I think for me, it's just all of it is confidence, and I think like Sarah and I talk about it a lot whenever we're reviewing clients. You come up every single time. It's just like confidence, assertiveness. Like you can talk the walk and walk the walk. I think that's important, but at the same time, it's like I think it's worth addressing the fact that Chris said it's like, you know, for the content that I hardly ever make. There is an irony in that. I don't know if you agree with this, Blair, but the guys that are doing best from a financial standpoint, you know, just best. We took a sample of them. Actually, like a lot of them do get a bit more lackadaisical with content for a little while because it's like you're training. It's the way I look at it. It's like this. It's like for me, I train 30 minutes a day because I built a rig that's like above average, maybe not amazing, but I don't have to then. It was much harder to build to that point than it is to sustain. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of the big boys, you look at like Chris or fucking Ben's a great example. Ben's Instagram's seen, 3 posts this year? So it's interesting to see. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of that, dude. Okay, in terms of today, obviously you've driven all the way down so that we can spend some time. The beauty of this part is that they're not necessarily problems anymore. They're more like challenges and shit. It's like, cool, how do we go to the next level? How do we go to the next level? So like, I feel like the conversation inherently becomes more positive when you get to this point where like, to get you to this point, we've had a series of conversations that we've both been quite straight with each other, and at times you've had problems, and that's okay. That's the fucking point. But we get to this point, and I don't perceive you to have problems, but I think the point is, what are the challenges that we're facing that you want to try and overcome and get out of spending a couple hours together?
I think just like the next bit, the next like level kind of thing. So like, when we're in Ibiza and Ben gave his talk about how well he's doing, I know, having spoke to a lot of coaches at the event in Ibiza, it was like, Jesus Christ. But to me, I'm like, so it's achievable.
Yeah, so here's what a 70k month looks like.
Yeah, so I'm like, like that belief of like, there's no way, which is what I had at the start of us kind of working together, that charging £40, £100 a month, when you see on social media, mentors doing like, my client hit 10k. I was like, apart from holding a knife to someone's throat, how the fuck is that possible, mate? So, but
like, funny looking back at how ill-informed that mindset was, and the fact that you know that this current mindset, there's another one of those moments where you're like, well, what does that guy know that I don't know? Yeah,
and it's the same, like, so my wife Joy, she's like, nothing ever phases you. You think everything's going to be all right. It's like, because I'm quite like, there's always an answer to a question, and there's always a solution to a problem. You just don't know it yet, so everything will be all right. Like, it will be fine. So I think that's why I like wanted today happen to be like, I'm all right here, but I'm not all right in the way that like I know there's more. So I want more of the juice to be squeezed, if that makes sense. No, I agree. Nothing's unfuckable. Yeah, is the way I put that. And for the people that don't like swearing, the option is you can fuck off, right? So yeah. There's an option for non-swearers, you can fuck off, and there is a vegetarian option as well, you can fuck off as well. I do think that, nothing's unfuckable. So we want to work out what that next level is. One of the weirder requests that have been made of me today is Chris messaged on his way in this morning. He was like, dude, can I ask you a favour? I was like, of course, mate, that's how this works. You know that by now. He's like, all right, no one's ever asked this before, so stand by. I'm like, all right, I'm slightly worried now. He said, can you do a testimonial for me? So Chris has turned this whole thing on its head, and I'm doing a testimonial for him. But I think there's an interesting insight in that is Chris is good at thinking outside the box. Like, he hasn't seen anyone else do that. That's what you said, right? You've not seen anyone else have their mentor I think pitch them. Yeah, I think when you're in driving situation, like driving 3 hours, it's like quite. So I was thinking of things, and I was like, I've never ever seen anyone. I've seen all these mentors interviewing their clients about like how to hit a 10k a month. It's like, I've never ever seen he flipped being like, why do you think I'm a good coach, or why do you think people would benefit from me as a coach? So I thought, fuck it. Let's do it. We'll do that next. All right. Well, I think what's left to do is to get into working out what that next level looks like. We'll can shift ourselves over to the desk. We can sit down, figure out, get a flavour for across the room, like where you're at. So everyone in the room knows where we're starting from today. So like, where are we earning, how many clients have we got, what does the acquisition look like, what does churn look like? We can get all that stuff mapped out so that we're all on a level pegging playing field. At that point, kind of what are the various challenges in front of you? Let's make a plan, brainstorm on some strategy, and go from there. Yep. Beautiful. Let's get into it.